Welcome, everybody, back to the X Factor podcast, and we're ready for some NFL talk here today. We got some breaking news coming all around the NFL. Some of the stuff I heard, there was some stuff from yesterday that I haven't talked about. Derek Carr is now a New Orleans Saint. That's a very interesting, in my opinion, that's a very interesting, it's going to be a weird pairing because with Derek Carr being with Las Vegas for so long, how it's going to go, I honestly do not know. I am not a fan of Dennis Allen. I am not a fan of his coaching ability. So going into it, I am not fully invested. But depending on what they do in the offseason with the cap, that they're dealing with. They've restructured a couple guys already, so hoping that they can get on and going. And one thing I hope they don't do, I hope they don't get rid of Michael Thomas. I know his production the last couple years have not been the best, but when he is on the field, he looks pretty good. So with all that being said, I'm hoping they don't get rid of him because that'd be a great guy for Derek Carr to throw to. Because it'd be like, it wouldn't be just like Devontae Adams in Vegas, but it'd be another guy they give it to. And then Alvin Kamara with all the drama that's going on. I don't know what is going to go on with that. So we're going to be going on with this. Josh Jacobs also got franchise tagged, which is going to be interesting what happens next year when his contract is up. So that's going to be interesting news right there. Another breaking news that happened last night. Tony Pollard is franchise tagged, and I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm going to obviously get right into this one. So coming into the season, as a Cowboys fan, and I think as a lot of the Cowboy fans, they thought Dalton Schultz was obviously going to come in and, we're going to franchise tag him pretty much. So the fact that And with the playoff game that we had in San Francisco where we lost and Pollard getting hurt, that really screwed everything up right there. Because I feel like we could have gave Pollard an extension, do something with Zeke, do something with Dalton Schultz, and give Schultz that franchise tag. But with how the tight ends in Dallas have played this past season with Hendershot and Ferguson, I believe that they can take it next year to another level, and I hope they can. But if they keep all three, I'd be excited. We keep our big three right there as a tight end group. As of for running backs, Tony Pollard, horrible injury. I honestly don't know if he's gonna come back the same after what happened. So I'm hoping I hope we draft a running back, but I'm hoping we also get a corner. So I want Jalen Ramsey. I know we're probably not going to get that deal done, or the Cowboys are not going to get that deal done. So we're going to see how this goes throughout the next couple weeks, but there is some things I've been seeing with DeAndre Hopkins. He was in Dallas yesterday with Des Bryant, and said some things, and I don't know how to if he does go to Dallas, I don't know what to feel. I don't know how to feel like. I think it'd be great for I think it'd be great for Dak, really, because if you notice, a lot of the quarterbacks that have been successful, that they have groups around them. They have a huge group. Besides the Chiefs, everyone else has a pretty decent group around them. I want us to do what the Eagles did this past year. And that's bring in a bunch of people, people that they know that they can rely on, that'll fit the system like the Eagles have now, and hopefully contend for a Super Bowl for the first time, or go to the Super Bowl for the first time in years and years. So I'm hoping that happens. I will be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles here in just a little bit because I got some hot things I need to talk about them about. And I hate the Eagles, but it's going to be said here live. Well, not live, but here on the record here. And then, as for Tony Pollard and Zeke, I hope we draft a running back. I hope it's the one from Texas, Robinson. But if we don't, and everyone's all Cowboys fans, just people in general saying, why not just get rid of Zeke? It's his time's up. As a Cowboys fan, I have been a Cowboys fan since his rookie year. I was 10 years old at the time. I don't think we should get rid of him. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there's a lot of things we can use Zeke for. And it doesn't have to be with his running ability. First off, when he's on there, when Dak's passing, he's a great pass blocker. Like, I get if you put him just in passing situations, people would understand. Like, people know what you're doing. But Mike McCarthy said he wants to run the damn football next year. So you put him right there at fullback and have him just block his way through everything. And he's good in, like, if you need 1-2 yards, he's the guy you need to go to in this offense. And with Kellen Moore gone, we have a whole new system with Mike McCarthy calling plays. So I'm hoping they do something with that. But I will get into more of that later on throughout the week. So, another thing, Orlando Brown will not get a franchise tag. The Pro Bowl tackle slated his free agency in Kansas City doesn't re-sign him before next week. And Calvin Ridley's also back, so great to see him back. Another thing, Geno Smith, his new contract. I believe he signed a 3-year, $105 million contract. I'm sorry, that is the dumbest contract so far in free agency. I get what he did this year and when he comeback player of the year, and great for him, but he's not. I believe that this year for Geno Smith is just a 1-year lucky thing. He hasn't been a starter in so many years, so people not really got to know what he has bringing to the table now. And now that he does have this, contract, I don't believe it's going to go work out. Next season, Seattle's not going to contend with him there. He's going to get replaced. I guarantee it. I will say that until he proves me wrong. This year he proved everyone wrong, but after what happened in the playoff game, and there's quite a few games last year where he did not look good in. So him giving him that much money, and I get the QB market for money is a lot right now, so I still don't think that'd be a good one. Another deal I don't think should be big on is Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones potentially getting $45 million is probably the second dumbest thing so far that I have heard. He is not worth that much. I get there's a lot of quarterbacks now that have that kind of money, but when you're getting $45 million and the last 4 years you've been mediocre, and this year you had an alright season, passing wise wasn't the greatest stats, but he also ran the ball good. So they can give him a contract. And wait a minute, while we're here, apparently there's breaking news going through. You gotta be kidding me. Oh no. Apparently Daniel Jones has got a contract, 4 years, $160 million, with 35 more in upside. They're apparently finalizing it now. What the hell is going on here? Midway through my speech about how they're going to give him a contract, and they give that. I'm sorry, that is. Unless Brian Dable changes that team really good, or if he changes everything and brings Daniel Jones what he needs next year, that's worse than the freaking Geno Smith contract. What the fuck are you doing here? And I hate the Giants, and I want them to be bad, but when you're doing stupid shit like this every goddamn day, or wow, that is and yet you could have gave that money to Saquon and gave him the franchise tag. Or did they? I believe they already gave, or they did not give him a franchise tag, or yeah, it's a 4-year deal. The franchise tag is now available for Saquon Barkley. I could see them giving it to Saquon, even though he had just this year as well. He played good this year, but I still think they should have gave the money to Saquon and gave Daniel Jones the franchise tag, because if he plays bad next year, and if they improve talent-wise at least, that's going to be Yeah, and they're placing the franchise tag on Saquon Barkley. So that is, I love Brian Daboll, and I love what they're doing right now. But that's terrible. That is absolutely terrible, in my opinion. And it's not that Daniel Jones is just like a really, really bad. Like the last couple of years, he's been bad. But you also got to think about the coaches that have been there. And to me, I think Daniel Jones is more of a system kind of guy. You know, if you put him in the right system, he's gonna do it. But that's with every NFL player. If you put a certain player in a certain system, they're gonna play amazing. I think that's what the NFL is all about. It's all about the systems and the players. Every player in the NFL is a system type of player, or most of them at least. But in my opinion, I don't think that's going to work out well for them. Because you still got to compete with Philadelphia, Dallas, and then whatever the Commanders do this past season, you got to compete with all those teams, include yourself in that, and with them. So, and hell, the Jalen Hurts is about to get freaking one of the biggest contracts, almost as big as Mahomes, not really as big, but he's about to get a massive contract. Dak already has a massive contract. So that's I don't know what to think about that one. Give me a minute here. But yeah, that is I don't like that at all. So the deadline franchise tag is for 4 o'clock today for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. The Eagles have a long list of free agents and not expected to tag any. If they tag C.J. Gardner-Johnson, it would have been $14 million. Damn. Okay. And there has been reports about Tom Brady potentially coming out of retirement, and he already tweeted out, anyone who thinks I have time to come back to the NFL has never adopted a 2-year-old kitten for their daughter. So I think that shows you that he's not coming back, or maybe, I don't think he's coming back, so he doesn't need to come back. The Cowboys retired him, so I don't give a damn how many Super Bowls he's won in the past 20 years. I don't give a damn how many times he's beaten the Cowboys. We retired that motherfucker. So, and the Rams are not using franchise tagging Matt Gay. So that's another news. Bucks are releasing Donovan Smith today. I am not surprised. Last couple years or this past year, he's been hurt quite a few times. He's not, and I believe he had like a really big or somewhat of a big contract as well. So seeing him gone, I'm not surprised. So, and plus saves just under $10 million on the cap salary for the Buccaneers, and if it's a standard release, over $15 million this year, and if designated post 6/1, which is June 1st. Jets officials are flying to Green Bay today to meet with Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers does enter the Jets, that's gonna. To be honest, I don't know how to feel about that one. Because with all the years he's been in Green Bay, you never think, Rodgers is going to leave. But with all the dramatic things that have been going on this past year, and then this year in particular being as mediocre, well, not mediocre, but as how they were this year, seeing him in a Jets uniform is going to be weird. But I believe it would help Rodgers because, it would help Rodgers because of the talent the Jets have around them. They got Breece Hall, they got Elijah Moore, they got that one rookie they drafted this past year. Can't put my finger right on it right at this second. Can't think about it right now. But they got Sauce Gardner on defense. They got a great team, an alright great team. If they get some little bit more O-line help, they could be in the contention for their division and conference champions and maybe Super Bowl contenders this year. So, that's going to be another thing to look forward to here in this off season. And in the past hour, the franchise tag on Lamar Jackson, I believe that what they're doing right now with the franchise tag, I believe is probably the best option for them. If I was Lamar Jackson, I would stay there for another year, and if they don't, and I would say, give me weapons, give me receivers, give me receivers that I can rely on every play. And one thing we know about Baltimore, they don't they don't draft worth shit for receivers. And so if you get, and plus I think if they can get a DeAndre Hopkins over to Baltimore, that would help. Even though he's only 33, they need to bring someone big, and they gotta draft someone out of the draft this year if they really want to compete for Lamar to come back. If he doesn't come back next, if they don't do what he wants, like if he doesn't get receivers and he just has to rely on Mark Andrews, I'm sorry, yeah, I don't see much of Lamar Jackson being in Baltimore anymore. And the franchise tag will be $32.4 million in their salary for this year, and allows Jackson for the first time in his career to negotiate with other teams. So that's another thing to look forward to. And then Frank Clark is no longer with the Kansas City Chiefs. He got released just a little bit ago. So pretty much that's everything that's been going on today. Another thing I want to talk about here is quarterbacks. I'm going to be talking about what team needs a quarterback. So as we look as the teams right now, we got give me a minute here. I'm going to start with the AFC East. Bills, they obviously don't need a quarterback. They got their quarterback for the future, and Josh Allen. So, and all the Bills really need to do is, sorry, I'm just really, the Daniel Jones contract really, damn. With everything that happened at the end of the playoff game against the Cincinnati Bengals and everything, they need to one thing, they need to keep Von Miller around. I know they're going to keep him around because that freaking massive contract they gave him to him off last season. Get him a running back. Like, he doesn't have a solid running back core at all, pretty much. It's pretty much him, Stephon Diggs, and then the defense. That's pretty much what really... And then Gabe Davis whenever he wants to show up and actually do something. So, get him a running back. The one from TCU, Deuce Vaughn, I believe that's what his name is. I think he'd be an alright fit with them. Because, if you need to pass the ball, you can give it to him. You need to run the ball, give it to him. They also need to work on the offensive line just a little bit. So Allen ain't running for his life a lot of the times. Because there is times last year where he did have to run a lot. So far, Bills, they're off the list. The Miami Dolphins is an interesting one, though. So, with Tua and all the head injuries, I don't know how he's going to go next year. Because you can see with concussions, it could really mess up an NFL player. Carson Wentz hasn't been the same since his concussion in the Seahawks-Eagles playoff game in 2019. There's also, with the talent that Tua has around him, he can do good. He can do real good. But with all those concussions, I don't know what to really expect from him. But I do believe in Mike McDaniel, and I do believe in Tua that they're going to get something through this offseason to make sure Tua doesn't get those concussions again. Because if he gets any more concussions, he's going to be a freaking vegetable. So, and he's got to get forced to retire. So, the New England Patriots are the next team on this list. I believe the only thing the New England Patriots really need to do to help Mac Jones, because I don't think they need to get a quarterback. The only thing they need to do to get a quarterback to help them is to get an offensive coordinator that knows how to do their job. If you noticed with Josh McDaniel last year, or the year before he left to go to Las Vegas, they did all right offensively. And then, he left, and I believe it was Matt Patricia who was the offensive coordinator, and he's doo-doo. He is massive shithead. So, get him an offensive... And I believe they brought in the offensive coordinator from Alabama. He used to be the Texans head coach. Like I said, mind is off right now. But they brought him in, so it could be good for Mac Jones, in my opinion. They just need to get a receiver that they can rely on, because most of the receivers they have are just a bunch of, well, I'm not really calling them mid, but like they're not like big impact players, but they can be with the right scheme. So that's pretty much that. And then the Jets, of course, they're trying to get Aaron Rodgers. I believe Aaron Rodgers, and I already said I believe Aaron Rodgers would be the right fit for them. So, let's see. Your Chiefs, they're good. You could do anything with Mahomes and be fine. Chargers, they're good. Raiders, that's I'm gonna say this right now. If the Raiders stick with Stidham as quarterback for next year, get rid of Josh McDaniel. I already don't believe Josh McDaniel is a good coach. One thing that every executive or owner of every NFL team should know: don't get a coach that has been with Bill Belichick or under the Bill Belichick coaching tree. You already know it's not going to go well. Like, except for the Texans head coach, I can't remember his name. Give me a minute here. Bill O'Brien. There we go. I was thinking Brian something. Bill O'Brien. That's who it was. Besides Bill O'Brien, for those first couple years with Houston, they were all right. And then, after 2020, I believe they just like fell off a cliff. And then Brian Flores a couple years ago, he was all right as a coach. I just feel like he didn't have the quarterback that he really could fit with. So that's pretty much how I feel. And I believe in the next, I'm gonna say this right now. If it's not this year, it's the next year after that, or the year after that, that Josh McDaniels will be out of Las Vegas, because I don't believe it. He'll be right back to where he was before, sitting behind Bill Belichick. So that's pretty much what I think about that. Denver, I believe they're good with Russ. Sean Payton's really doing something special there. I believe they're going to do something special next year. So Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, I think they're amazing. It's just sad about how they got this whole offensive, like, they spent a lot of money last year on offensive linemen, and yet they still weren't the greatest there. And I believe there was a rumor about them getting rid of Lil Collins. I don't really know. They should draft a tackle, or at least get someone. There's a couple guys on that line that was pretty good last year, so hoping this next year they will try to upgrade that, because they got the talent. Wide receiver wise, they got all right tight end work. They got they might be getting rid of Joe Mixon, so I think they'll be fine for next year, especially with Joe Burrow there. So I believe in Joe Burrow. Ravens, like I said, with Lamar, get some wide receivers, help him out. Kenny Pickett, I don't know. Because like I can sit here and say, like, Mike Tomlin is like, I can say that he's like gonna have a bad season, but then he'll turn around and have a good season. So pretty much, I think the only thing they can really do to help him out is get, like I said, draft another. There's a lot of teams that need wide receivers this year, or a second receiver to help. Kenny Pickett, I think he's gonna be all right just there in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin. As long as Mike Tomlin don't go anywhere, I think they'll be all right. And Cleveland, I think they're gonna do better. I think they're going to be better than what they were last year. I think they'll be a playoff contending team next year. Because you all got to think, with Deshaun Watson, he was out for 2 years. I think it was 2 years. 2 NFL seasons. Or NFL season and a half or whatever. And, people, like, when he came back, people were expecting him to play amazing. They were expecting him to do this, that. That's not how that fucking works. Well, I'm sorry, when you've been gone for a while, you're gonna have rust on you. They showed that in the preseason with him, and he looked like ass. So I believe with Amari Cooper and everyone else they got there, next year they're gonna get better. So Jacksonville Jaguars, they're good at quarterback. Texans, I believe they're gonna draft either C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. Colts, they're gonna, like I said, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, whoever, Max Duggan, whoever's there. And Titans, I believe they should get a new quarterback. I believe should start a rebuild, and this is the time where they need to start a rebuild before it's too late that they get really bad. Because I think you should trade the people you have now who have been all right the last couple of years before they get bad, so no one wants them. Like Derrick Henry, I think they should get rid of Derrick Henry, and that's not a hit on Derrick Henry. I just think they're at a point where they need to get rid of a lot of guys that just needs to be gone. And Derrick Henry, he's about 29-30 right now. So, and he had an all right season last year. I think if you get him with another team, he can do better than what he did with the Titans. So, after all that, that's what I think. I think they need to start a whole rebuilding. Go out with that. The Atlanta Falcons, they have Desmond Ridder. I believe he'll be the QB of the future there. I thought that last year, too. And there was a couple of games last year where he played that he didn't look good, but I believe in Arthur Smith, and I believe in Desmond Ridder, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London, and they just need to get. They're going to do something next year. They're potentially going to do something. I don't think they're not going to be as bad, but they're not going to be as good. I believe they're about 8-9 win team instead of a 7-10 record. Saints, they just got Derek Carr, so there's not really. I believe they're set for next year, and I believe they're going to be getting rid of James Winston, which I think is. I feel bad for Winston because before he got hurt, he was 5-2, and then he got hurt, and I believe if he wouldn't have stayed hurt with Sean Payton, they would have been deep into the playoff run last year or the year before that. So, Carolina Panthers, they are Max Duggan potential could be a QB option. There's quite a few guys there that can, like I said, they can draft a quarterback or they can stay with Matt Corral and Sam Darnold. I believe they still have Sam Darnold. So, I don't know. There's a lot of weird teams coming into this offseason, so it's kind of hard to think about. They're doing Buccaneers. It's either they're going to draft someone or they're going to get like a Jimmy Garoppolo type guy. And I still think they're going to be terrible next year. I don't give a damn who the quarterback's going to be there next year. I think they're still going to be bad because Brady's not there and Todd Bowles. I don't think he's a good head coach, defensive coordinator, one of the best in the league, but as a coach, I don't think he's good at all. So going into, this next year, I think the Buccaneers are going to be bad, don't matter who is there. Chicago, Justin Fields, QB of the future. Just get him some line help, get him some receivers, and pretty much just get off with that. Rodgers is going to leave Green Bay. Jordan Love is going to be the QB of the future in Green Bay. And when they had that game in Philadelphia this past year, Love in that one drive he had, or the two drives he had, he didn't look terrible. I thought he looked good against one of the best defenses in the NFL last year. So hopefully he goes in there next year with a little fiery Aaron Rodgers type player. So, and plus replacing a guy like Rodgers is always tough. Like Rodgers had to replace Favre, it's always gonna be tough. So, Lions, playoff contender. That's all I gotta say for that. Playoff contender with Jared Goff. Vikings, I think they're gonna get worse, and I only think that because with Kirk Cousins. And I know Kirk Cousins, he's fought a lot throughout last year. But a lot of it was because of their defense. Their defense was horrendous last year. I just think with Kirk Cousins' age, I don't think he's going to get worse just by a little bit. But even though he has Justin Jefferson, he's still going to be the Kirk Cousins we all see every week. So, Cardinals, Kyler Murray, hopefully he does better after the ACL tear. Playing a lot of Call of Duty, I'm assuming, now with the ACL. Rams, Matthew Stafford, or Baker, whoever's there next year. I think. Ooh, that's gonna be something to look forward to because they're trying to get rid of Allen Robinson. They got rid of Bobby Wagner. I think they're just trying to get rid of a lot of the older people out. So potentially we could see Matt Stafford leave or be benched next season by Baker if Baker's still there and wants to be there. So yeah, and then they still got Cooper Kupp. So They just need to fix up on the line, get a running back. Defensive wise, they if they're really gonna trade Jalen Ramsey, they better be getting a corner out of that. So that's gonna be something to look forward to. Seattle, like I said, Geno Smith, bum. Get a quarterback. And the 49ers, I think the 49ers should stay with Trey Lance. Even though how Brock Purdy played last year and how everything went, you still picked Trey Lance with the 3rd overall pick, and he only played 2 or 3 games. How many games did he play? I believe it was the second game he got hurt. The second game he got hurt. So I think, they still picked him with the 3rd pick. So they need to let him, just try to believe in him just a little bit, even though he coming off an injury and everything. And if they don't believe in him, get rid of him and do something with Purdy. Purdy, in my opinion, if it wasn't for the scheme fit there, he would not be known at all. The dick riding last year for him was outrageous. And, especially with Fox and whenever they had a freaking game on Fox, they would just dick ride him so hard. And it pissed me off because I don't think he's good. I don't think he's... and without that system, Kyle Shanahan, they're not... Without Kyle Shanahan there, they're not good. So, with the system they got sitting there. So, up to the NFC East. Commanders, they already said they're looking into a quarterback. But Sam Howell will get a shot like everyone else. Even though Rivera said there was a good shot he would be quarterback, but then just the last couple days he said they're going to look for a quarterback. So, whether they're going to draft one or use Sam Howell, I don't know. We're going to look into that. That's going to be fun training camp for them. Giants, Daniel Jones, bum. Dak Prescott. After the playoff game, everyone, even Cowboy fans, were saying we need to get rid of Dak. And I don't think they should. One of the main reasons is the money issue, and I just think they need to build around Dak, like I said earlier. And if Dak really, and the problem with building around Dak is his money. And if Dak really wants to win a Super Bowl, lower your contract, please. Do what a lot of quarterbacks do. Do what Tom Brady did and lower your contract so you can get players around you. If you get players around you, it makes the team better. And that's just a straight up fact. You've seen it with Philadelphia this year. So that's what I think they should do. Lower Dak's contract and, go out, get a receiver, get a running back. Fix up the O-line, please. Please fix the O-line. Because Dak ain't the same runner since his ankle injury. And get a corner, get a linebacker, get some defensive linemen. Get a D-tackle. One of the main things I think they should get here in this offseason. This offseason is a make or break offseason. And I know every year Jerry Jones says it's a make or break year, or Super Bowl or bust year. But I believe this next year with Mike McCarthy, with his 4th year being with us, and this potentially could be the 3rd year in a row we could have a winning season. This is the real make or break year. If not, then I don't know what to say. I think we're just cursed. But with Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, I believe they're fine. I will say this, though. I believe that the Philadelphia Eagles 2023 team was one of the best teams to never win a Super Bowl. And I will say that right here live on YouTube right here. I say that because with how Philadelphia built their roster last year, how they built them, and how they did all this with just around Jalen Hurts, and what Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni was able to do to build what they did with them, and with the QB sneaks and the QB runs, and Hurts is an amazing passer. He got way better this year, and bringing AJ Brown in and doing all that. And everyone could say, yeah, their schedule was easy, but if you think about it, everyone that they beat pretty good. And that's what good teams are supposed to do. And now next year they got the real test because they have a harder schedule. That's the real test to see if Philadelphia is really Philadelphia. And that's really going to hurt them because there's a lot of guys on that team that is old. older, I might say, and there's a couple guys on there that might fall off a little bit. Who knows? Who knows if Jason Kelsey's coming back? I would like to see him come back for another year and play, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting what the Philadelphia Eagles do this year, because after every year, everyone gets older as it's life. So every year you need to look into like age and looking at everything that you can to see what you can do to get better, because every year you want to get better. And I think this past year, if the thing in Washington never happened, and with Hurts never getting injured, they could have went undefeated. So, when they went to the playoffs, they beat a rebuilding Giants team, who a lot of people thought that shouldn't have been there. They beat the 49ers, even though Brock Purdy got hurt, and people could say, Brock Purdy got hurt, that's the reason why they lost. They were going to get smashed either way. By the start of that game, you could tell they were going to hurt them. So, pretty much like that, and they go in the Super Bowl, and, pretty much that fumble that caused the Chiefs to get a touchdown pretty much solved the game right there. And you could say it could be the holding call or whatever, but if you think about it, if the Chiefs never got that, it would have been a 31-35 game. So, Hurts fumble right there pretty much says it all. But there's a lot of things in that game that could have been a reason why they lost. But that was one of the main reasons. And I don't care about the flag. You can blame flags, refs, all you want, but if they never fumbled, they win the game. And they're two-time Super Bowl champions, and Eagle fans are sucking cock everywhere. So, excuse my language on that last part. But that's pretty much it right there. So, thanks for listening, or whatever you're doing here on the X Factor podcast. I will be in here tomorrow. I will be talking about NXT Roadblock and the first start of the day, and I'll be talking about AEW Dynamite for tomorrow, and then I will be talking about more free agency news, and then I will go over what each team, or I would be going over some of the combine numbers and all that, or I'll just pretty much go over NFL news that's been going on, and I'll get my reactions on that, because I believe there's going to be a lot more. So, enjoy your day, have a fun time, do what you do, and God bless you, and stay positive, everybody.